Welcome back. This go round, I was asked by none other than Craig, aka Minx36, to take a look at a very interesting game. And I say interesting because people are split between calling it a classic and a failure. And most of the people who consider it a classic are people who grew up and around this basic time frame, or like within this era, like 1990 or late 80s, early 90s, and have exposed to the beat 'em ups, because that was what was really prevalent in the arcades around that time. You know, in the arcades, movie theaters, etc. So to us that grew up and around that time period, it's a classic game. But to people who didn't grow up and around it, and seeing that the different games that came before this and after it, considered a failure because it just didn't live up to like the Streets of Rage or the Final Fights, etc. But we'll get into that. Game is made by Alpha Denshi, or ADK, as a lot of people know it. As you can see, it was produced in 1990, a long time ago, and I think it's rated at 46 meg. So, yeah, so let's take a look at this early Neo Geo game. Alright, basically the controls are simple. You got like a jumpy, a shoot type of weapon, and your magic, as you can see. And basically the plot of the game is that you're basically facing off with an evil ninja clan that's taken over New York City. That's really about it. It's standard fare bullshit. And basically what you're doing is you're starting out with these two ninjas. I think they're Joe and Hayabusa, if I'm not mistaken. And these two characters can pick up weapons, you know, from these different barrels, etc. You get points, you get life. I think if you get so many points, you get a 1-up. Some shit like that. And the purpose of this game really is to fucking eat your quarters. That's what the game's gonna fucking do, is eat your quarters. Because, I'm not saying that all beat-em-ups are necessarily, fair, but this one is definitely in the quarter muncher crowd, because you might take like several hits to get knocked in an enemy. It only takes like 1 or 2 to knock your ass out. So also a very unique feature is that as you progress through the game, and you defeat certain enemies, kind of like sub-bosses and some regular bosses, because of their brainwash, due to the evil ninja clans and all that, they actually become your allies. And when they become your allies, they fight with you. And not necessarily you could switch them on the fly, but usually after you finish, I believe, let's say, a stage, you can select the character that you defeat. Because if you looked at the previous screen, there was like that samurai-ish looking dude. Well, you'll be able to grab his ass at the end of the stage and play as him. And to be honest with you, it's better to play with him and the other characters, because excuse me, is because the characters that you start out with, the ninjas right here, are just fucking weak. Your attacks are just too damn weak. And as you can see, I died already. So it's best to actually start out, you know, what do you call it? If you get the other characters, it's better to go with them. And you get, I know, a female, I think she uses fans or whatever. I forget what the hell she uses. But, she, what you call it, she becomes selectable. Then you have this muscle-bound guy who's kind of like a retard, and he's useless. He's just as bad as fucking, your main characters. So, really only like 2 of the, allies that you have are actually really worth anything. So, basically, you might be looking at the game and be like, man, this game looks like a fucking Super Nintendo game or a Sega Genesis game. And to some extent, you wouldn't be wrong. But the one thing that separates it from being a Super Nintendo game or a Sega Genesis game, is the amount of enemies on screen and with virtually no slowdown. And also, you'll see some minor scaling effects here and there. Such as you saw with previous screens with the roller coaster coming down the track, and some other interesting features, scaling features. So it's actually pretty neat to see that type of stuff. So that's what's kind of separates the from it really being a true Super Nintendo Sega Genesis game. There's not much really to say. I mean, the thing is that I come back to this game every so often because I grew up with it, same as Craig did. You have a certain liking toward it. It's kind of like another beat 'em up burning fight. You have to have grown up in that era to kind of appreciate it, even though those games, both these games and all, like Burning Fight and Ninja Kong, don't really match up to Streets of Rage, Final Fight, etc. Here's where you can select. So I can play as Musashi. But they have their own charm to them. And they have like that SNK feel, that old school feel to them. And, you know, thinking about, you know, in 1990, I don't know, how old the fuck was I? Maybe 11, 12, I don't fucking know. I barely remember how the fuck old I am now. Anywho, the thing is that, you know, when I had a Nintendo back then, and I think I might even had a TurboGrafx and a Sega Genesis back then too, looking at the graphics in the arcade at my mom and pop shop, I mean, they were pretty fucking impressive. You know, the amount of colors and detail in the stages and the scaling effects, you know, it was awesome. You know, I mean, it is what it is. It's like one of those games that you're like, wow, you know, look at this game. And then when you actually have, you're like, well, it's not as impressive as, you know, the beat-em-ups that were by Capcom, Konami, and Sega themselves. You know, because, you know, for some reason I just don't understand that. It kind of like eludes me as to why SNK could never get their fucking act together with making, what do you call it, beat 'em ups. Also, I don't know if I mentioned that once you have pick a different character other than the ninjas, you cannot pick up weapons. So that's only kind of regulated to the two main characters and all. But there's not much more I can really say about this game. It's one of the games that you're going to have to try, because either you like it or you don't. Like I said, I think the people who really actually enjoy this game are the ones who actually grew up with this game, or people who are kind of open-minded to seeing what it was trying to be. True, SNK was trying to, and so was 80K, because this was, you know, published under SNK, I believe. The thing is that, you know, they were trying to, you know, cash in at the whole beat-em-up craze, just like the fighting game craze. But they could just never get the beat-em-up thing down. That's kind of weird to me. They can make an outstanding fighting game, but fuck up a beat-em-up. I don't understand that part of it. I don't know. I'd imagine it's more complicated making a fighting game than it is making a beat-em-up. Well. But the thing is that, yeah, I suggest you do check it out. You can find this game in so many different things. I think it's on SNK Classics, Volume 1, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember, but, so yeah, so definitely, check it out. It's definitely, a cheesy game, but I think you'll have a lot of fun with it and all. But you have to appreciate it for what it was. Fuck. And that's all you have to look at it as. And like I said, people will rate this game really bad. You're going to have to judge for yourself. My suggestion is give it a go. If you don't like it, you don't like it. If you do, you do. So, alright, I once again thank Minx36 for having me, you know, requesting this overview. Definitely check him out. A really awesome guy, you know, from across the pond. And, take care. Oh, by the way, this is another character you'll get. So this is the only other useful character. So, yeah. Alright then. Take care.